Hi and welcome back for our 10th episode on how to build a habit tracker. Today I'll explain how to save the habit you created on your iPhone local storage. First, you need to know that there's multiple ways to save data. You can be using local storage or there's different cloud option solution available. However, for this app, we'll go simple and we'll just use the AppStorage property wrapper, which is one of the many ways to save on your local storage. So to start, I'll want to go create a new group, a new folder, which is going to be called data. And I'll just move that after the app, which I don't really use that one much. I'll just close that one. And inside the data, I want to create a new habit service. And for now, I can actually close all of these here. Actually, there you go. Perfect. So for the app service, habit service, first, I will want to import Swift UI. And the reason to import Swift UI is because you won't have access to the app storage property wrapper without using the Swift UI library. And we'll create a class called habit service. So we'll do something similar to what we were doing with our developer preview, where we're using without creating a new instance every time, we can use properties that are inside of this. However, the way I will create this for this one is going to be creating a static property, which is going to be basically a shared instance of the habit service. So when you create a new instance of an object, let's say this one is the habit service, you can create them wherever you want in the code using this little line here, and you can just create that called whatever you want. However, by creating a static options here, we'll have access to, whenever we called habit service.shared, we'll have access to everything inside of it. So this is going to be how we're going to be able to access a service without creating new services everywhere. To follow, we'll go ahead and create our app storage. And our app storage, we need to give it some sort of ID, so a key. I would just call it habits key, since our app storage is going to be for the habits. And we'll create a var called saved habits. And it's going to be of type data, and we'll instantiate that as data here. Now, it would be awesome if Swift allowed us to save or indicate instead of data here that it would be a type of array of habits. However, let's say equal here empty array. You'll see it throws an error and it says not exact match and call to initializer. The reason for is that Swift is not able to just handle a type of data straight to convert. So I need to use the data type, and it works with the JSON type of format. So we'll look over how to use that and how to be able to save and all. And we'll create a variable that is basically a habit variable that's going to contain our current habits already converted. So habits, and we'll give it an empty array to start for initializing. Now, the way it's going to work, we'll want to work on multiple things, which first is going to be the data conversion. We also want to do some data queries. And basically for our data conversion, we will want to create something that allows us to save, and one of them that's going to allow us to retrieve. And for the data queries later on, we'll want to create something that allows us to add and something that allows us to delete. So all the functionality that we currently have, the add and delete, are going to be in our data queries. The save and retrieve, we don't really have that at the moment. We're just using basically our developer preview as our database, which doesn't work. But for the database, we'll want to be able to save. So we'll create a function that is going to allow us to save data, save habits. And we'll create a function that is allowing us to retrieve habits. All right. And so to be able to save our habits, first we need to convert the data to JSON. So the way it's going to work to convert that data to JSON, we'll basically create a new variable, which is going to be our habit JSON, and we'll try to convert. So we'll use the JSON encoder, and we'll call the encode function, and we'll try to encode habits, which is our property previously created here. So we'll basically try to encode what we currently have. And if it doesn't work, we'll just return. There's nothing to return it. Basically, we just need to return empty. So the way it works here, the guard will allow us to try to make this. If it doesn't work, it allows us to return, and the code will stop here. You'll see here JSON encoder requires that habits convert to encodable. So in our model, habits needs to be encodable, and it will also need to be decodable to allow us to convert JSON back into habit. So if we go back here, now it should work. And the way it's going to work to be able to save. So we only have the JSON. We want to add this JSON to the save habits. We will need to do self.saved habit equals to habit JSON. So this is the line that allows us to save. This is the line that will convert to JSON. Now, to retrieve, it's going to be something very, very, very similar. We'll basically call a guard again, where we'll have the decoded habit, and it's going to try to decode using the JSON decoder. And it's going to use the method decode. And the way it works is you're going to use the type you want to decode to. And it's going to be from the data source, which is saved habits. And we'll do a else condition after. And this is going to return a empty array. Now the return empty array is because here, when I retrieve the habits, I want the habits to be retrieved and sent. So it's kind of like a, every time we call the function, the method, it's going to return a value, which is going to be of habit array type. So now, retrieve habits, it's going to try to retrieve and expect member name. Oh. Is that it? There you go. And we'll return if everything works. So like if it doesn't work, you can see there's a return here. If everything works, I can just return the decoded habit. And so we have our basically data conversion done. You will see that if we want to initialize this here first, I cannot just call the retrieve habits here. It will want us to have everything initiated first. The way to be able to initialize the habits with whatever exists already, we'll create an init function method, the init, and we'll basically say that our habits property will equal to whatever is retrieved habits. And so whenever we create, it's going to first initialize empty, but whenever it inits, it's going to go ahead and assign whatever was previously saved. So now most of that is done. Let's go to a second window here. And I just want to open our habit list view model where we have that refresh habit. Here, instead of having habits equal developer preview.habits, I want to go habits equal to habit service dot shared dot retrieve habits. So whenever we refresh the habit, it's going to go and get the habits that were previously saved. And if we launch our app at this point, you should see something that is a bit different. We'll see, we should not be able to see the developer preview habits anymore. Get started, and you can see we don't have any habits anymore. All of our habits are gone. Basically, we don't have anything saved at the moment, so the reason why we're not able to see anything is we don't have anything saved. So we'll want to create some queries to be able to save something in there. And so we'll go create a function called add habits. No, we're just going to add one at the time. And it's going to be a habit that's going to be of a habit type. And at the front, I'll put a underscore. And the underscore will allow me to avoid having to repeat that little property name at the beginning. Since we already know that add habits, it's going to be the whatever habit is in between. I don't need to have that showing, so I just put a underscore to avoid me repeating that everywhere else. And so we'll have a habits.append. And basically, I don't know if you remember the add habit model view. We have a function already created where we have the add habit, developer habits append. We're basically doing the same here, and it's gonna be appending the habit that is gonna be passed. And after that, we need to save. Why is it saying always? Okay, save habits. So once it's append, we'll go ahead and refresh what is saved. And here, to change that and match it to our new way of building it, it's going to be service, the habit service that we need to call .share .add habit. And the habit is already passed in. So all the validation, everything is still being done in our view model. If everything works, we're going to go ahead and add it. Otherwise, we won't. The delete, I can always, you know what? I'll just show you and test it before. Okay, sorry here, my iPhone simulator wasn't working. Get started. We have no habits done. I will add a habit here. We'll just create a little test. So I'm going to call this test habit. Add. You can see now it is added. And, oops, I need to close this fully, reopen this, get started. We're able to get it back. So whenever we close the app and reopen it, our test is here. So the function add works. Now we'll need to go ahead and delete. So delete habit, and we'll create the same structure as the previous one. So we'll go ahead and underscore habit object type. And if you remember our habit button, we have here the delete habit. So basically what we want is the same thing here, but instead of having to go with the developer preview, I'm just want to go to look at our habits that is here. That's very simple. That is done. And we want to copy the save habit here. And so instead of developer preview.habit.remove all, this is going to be transformed into habit service.share.delete habit. And so we're deleting the habit that was there. And now, so if we do another test, so now for the test, get started, edit, minus done. And we can see here our habit has been deleted, close new me, reopen it, get started, and it is still deleted. So we can see here a very simple way to save data based on the local storage using the AppStorage text property. And we were able to add the habit and delete the habit using our local storage. So if you have any question or have any issues, don't hesitate to reach out in the comment. Otherwise, if you like this video, don't forget to put a thumbs up. And I'm trying to post videos in every 2 days. If you want to keep following this series, just don't forget to subscribe.